Alright, this is number 49. I'm not sure what just happened on the video. It kind of froze up on the camera. So we'll try number 49. This is the synthetic division problem. It says determine if x minus 1 is a factor. Remember, in order to be a factor, when you do synthetic division, the remainder, that's the last number over here in the corner, when you get done, has to be 0. Well, in order to put the number in the box right here, you take the opposite of x minus 1, because that's a factor, and we change and use the 0 for the synthetic division, so we should change it to a 1. Alright, remember, you list your headings, start with your highest exponent, you just count it down. No matter what you see here, you see your highest exponent and count it down, x to the third, x to the second, x to the first, and your constant. Then you put your coefficients 2, 11, 13, and 4. Bring down your 2, then do 1 times 2, put your answer there, add them. 11 plus 2 is 13. 1 times 13, put your 13 here, 13 plus 13, 26. 1 times 26, put 26 right here, add them, 30. We see that the remainder is 30, so x minus 1 is not a factor because there's a remainder. Alright, now we're going to turn to the next page. I think this is the last page here. And this is getting into what we did this week, exponential functions. It says, given the function 3 to the x plus 6 minus 8, choose a statement that is true. And we know that the asymptote, negative 8, goes horizontal, so there's nothing stopping it from going left or right. So the function increases from negative infinity to infinity because the base 3 is greater than 1, so we know it's going to be increasing. And we know it goes from negative infinity to infinity when it's increasing the entire time. The range would not be 6 to infinity because the asymptote is at negative 8. It would be negative 8 to infinity. And since it's increasing, they have these two switched around. That's what's wrong with C. And then D, we know it went left 6. X plus 6 makes it go left 6 and down 8. That's why D would be wrong. Because that says right, and that should say left. Alright, number 2 says what's the range of this function? Negative 5. Remember, the range of these are all exponential, so the range would need to be asymptote to infinity. So you look for the asymptote negative 5. B would be correct. Number 3 says graph this function. So what you do is just type in the function in y equals and hit graph and see which function matches up. A would be the correct function because it went down 5 and right 6. Alright, and then this one says, the next one says, what is the asymptote of the graph of the function 2 to the x plus 4 minus 1? Asymptote's that last number, C. And then what is the range of this function? You go to asymptote to infinity, so correct answer will be B on that one. Actually, I think there's a back, so there's one more side. Alright, so for this one, it says which equation below has a graph that shows a vertical shift up 3, so I know it's going to be plus 3 on the end, and a horizontal shift of right 2, so it's going to be x minus 2. So D will be right 2 and up 3. Number 8 says which of the following will have an x-intercept? If you just type each one in, you can tell that it's going to have x-intercept, so D would be the one with the x-intercept. Number 9, which of the ones will not have a y-intercept? You just graph each function and see which one doesn't touch the y-axis. Or you can look at the asymptotes. Here, the asymptote for A is x equals 0, so we know it won't touch the y-axis because the asymptote is at 0 on number 9A right there. Alright, number 10, what is the y-intercept for this function? Just type that function in and then go find 0 in the table. Remember, second graph is how you get the 0. That's how you get to the table. Press second graph in the graphing calculator. After you type that in y equals, and then press second graph and go find it in the table. Number 11 says choose a statement that is true. Well, A is wrong because that should say left 3. The range is wrong because the range for logs is negative infinity to infinity. C, it says increases from negative 3 to infinity. That's correct. And D, they have the first part of the end behavior mixed up. Because remember, on a log function, you have a vertical asymptote. The asymptote's going up and down. So it stops the graph from going left, so the x doesn't go to negative infinity, the x only goes to the asymptote, which would have been negative 3. F of x went to negative infinity. And number 12, which of the functions has a domain of 4 to infinity? Domain for logs, because you notice all the answer choices are logs, so that's why domain is asymptote to infinity. So you find the one that has an asymptote of 4, that would be C. And then 13 and 14 is the last thing we did right after we finished rewriting. Remember, the base of the exponential is going to be the base of the log, so log base 3. The 729 comes over to that log, and the 6, the exponent, is the answer to the log. It goes by itself. On 14, you see E. E is a special case. It always uses ln, so if you see E, you have to rewrite it with ln. And ln takes care of the log part. You won't have a log or a base whenever you see E because you use ln. The 148 comes over to the ln. The exponent again goes over there on the equal sign by itself. And then 15, it was just thrown out of order. It says, what is the asymptote of the graph? The asymptote will be what's in the opposite of what's in the parentheses, x equals 3. So hopefully this review helped you a little bit. It's only about 21 minutes, 22 minutes. Just make sure you go through it, pause when needed. Make sure you understand the process for each one of these, because the problems won't be exactly like them, but they will be similar. They will be multiple choice, and this will count as part of your final grade. So make sure that you take your time, make sure you understand the review, go back, forth through it, and good luck studying. And if you have any questions, I will be there to answer any questions, but tomorrow I'll be doing testing, so I won't be able to answer questions during class. It would have to be in fourth block. You can get a pass and come back and see me if you need to during fourth block. Have a good night.